There's an old saying from the 1970s, a man of quality is not threatened by a woman for equality. I think that, we need more men who are willing to stand up and speak out and support women and women's efforts to achieve equality and justice. Violence against women is clearly a men's issue. We need more men who are willing to stand up and speak out and challenge other men and stand with women as partners and allies, not as antagonists. There's no battle between the sexes. Everything that happens to women happens to men. Everything that happens to men happens to women. Our lives are interwoven. The idea that somehow advancing women is going to hurt men is nonsense. I think the best way to lift up a society is to lift up the women in that society, in part because women are, generally speaking, the primary caregivers for children, and those children include boys and girls. So to the extent that a woman can be healthy and happy and educated, and she can be a better mother to her children, including her sons, which improves their lives, which improves the whole society. I think the issue for any culture is, how do you define manhood? What does it mean to be a man? I mean, obviously in every culture there's a positive tradition of being a man, taking responsibility for your family, taking responsibility for yourself, and your responsibility to children. And that's certainly a feature of Latin American masculinity, as it is U.S., Anglo masculinity, and virtually every other culture. So there's positive traditions to draw from, but there's also perversions of traditions and perversions of cultural ideas about what does it mean to be a man. And I think the idea that somehow being a man means being in control of women, dominant over women, that's not really a cultural idea that's unique to any one culture. There's all kinds of cultures in the world that have that as part of a sort of negative interpretation of their culture. Instead of seeing this as an issue that, is fundamentally about women, we have to see it as fundamentally about men. So, for example, a conference on domestic violence should be at least 50% men. A conference on sexual assault or sexual violence should be at least 50% men. We should have training, in education sector, in the sports sector, in the healthcare sector. We should have training around these issues, not just for women, because that's what ends up happening. You'll have a training, and who will show up? The training will be about sexual assault, and you'll go into the room, and who will show up? It'll be 85%, 90% women in the room. But who's committing over 99% of sexual assault? It's men.